Let me share with you a little secret. If you're able to cultivate the ability to feel into that moment in time, actually feel it with your body, there's wisdom there. You are in them. There's been a lot of chatter this week around the self-limiting thoughts, the fearful thoughts, the negative thoughts, the angry thoughts, the depressed thoughts that come up while we are literally doing our best to break free from all of these things. Anybody ever experienced like a big slap in the face when you're like, holy shit, I'm on it. I'm going to take my life by storm. I'm really ready this time. And then you're doing this work, you're finding your communities, you're doing your practices, and then boom, you get hit harder than you have in the past. Anybody? Has anybody experienced that? Really? It's so frustrating, right? Okay, I mean, some guys are like, yeah, it's me right now. Guys, it's designed that way. Okay, we are setting ourselves up to experience the truth about our own nature of these limiting thoughts. Okay, and when we push ourselves, when we're saying yes to growth, remember, we always have this thing in our groups. Part of our philosophy is that for men, there's this thing called the yes moment, which is the moment in our lives where we're actually like, you know what? I am ready to really look at myself and really turn towards, alternative ways of seeing how I can achieve my bigger dreams. And that always leads to some form of self-exploration, which is what we do here. Okay. And that yes moment, once you do it, okay, once you say yes, it's like swallowing the red pill in the Matrix. Okay. It's like you start going down a rabbit hole and like all of a sudden, like you're in it and you're thinking about it much more and you're doing these practices and you're experiencing some wins, but then these big things come up and they slap you down. And it's the beast, my brothers. It is the beast. It is that part of ourselves which is designed to test us. It is the threshold by which we must cross to get to a different level of understanding about who we are. Okay? This beast, there's a couple of things I want to share about it. This layer of thought that we think about as being negative, stressful, fearful, is none of that. It is wired into who we are. Every human being has it. Okay, so the first step we must understand when we are confronted with our own self-limiting beliefs is that this is part of ourselves and we have to acknowledge it. We have to let that part of ourselves have a voice. There's all these different techniques out there of like trying to get rid of it, trying to distract ourselves away from it, like just getting away from it as quick as we can. But the fastest way to really transcend it is to understand it. Meaning that when you guys are experiencing a moment of frustration, anger, rage, dissociation, you want to check out, you want to have a bad day, you want to sit in front of the couch and watch TV all day, you don't want to do the things that you know you need to do. Anybody ever feel that way? Like you're just like, man, what you want to do first and foremost, and really write this down, okay? This is like so important, is acknowledge that experience. Acknowledge that feeling. Got to acknowledge it. It's not bad. It's not evil. We're the ones that turn it into the beast. Okay? We turn it into the beast. We turn it into this massive thing that we need to overcome. So part of what I'm sharing tonight is almost like a little bit of a joke, right? Because it isn't a beast. It's just kind of like the nature of being human. It's the nature of actually saying yes to growth. We're going to meet these moments in time that are designed to feel like blocks. It wouldn't be worth it if it was so easy to grow and live everything according to your dreams, right? Like there's a path here. There's a journey here that's necessary. So we must acknowledge these moments in time that feel like barriers. What does it feel like when you feel that way? What is your unique experience of that layer of frustration or limitation? Is it fear? Do you go to anger? Do you go to rage? Do you go to distraction, alcohol? Do you go to porn? Like, where do you go? What do you do? Right? Everyone, I say porn. So I was like, yeah, all right, I do that. All right. But what do you do? And acknowledge that that moment in time is there to get you off path. Okay. And what I am here to implore you to do is to meet that moment without reacting. Okay. Allow yourself just to feel into the energy of that limitation. Like, John, I felt you today, man, on that Facebook post, right? I was like, yeah, he's meeting that moment right now in some way, right? Like, you could feel me, right? Like, I read it. I was like, okay, John's in a moment right now that is challenging, and like it's bringing up a very strong energy, and no judgment on what you did. But what's more interesting to me is an in the moment exploration in that moment of like, okay, how do I feel right now? What does that actually mean? Because where that rage, that limitation is coming from somewhere. All right. And let me share with you a little secret. If you're able to cultivate the ability to feel into that moment in time, actually feel it with your body, there's wisdom there. There's information there that can help you. Okay, now this is advanced practice. The guys that are attracted to these calls are not brand new to any form of growth and development. I know, Vincent, this is our first time meeting, but the guys that come in here, most guys that are attracted to me have done something, have practiced meditation, have taken some courses, it's not their first rodeo of any form of self-exploration. I'm assuming it's not yours. So we're here in an advanced state talking as men that are on the cusp of the next stage of evolution. Okay, we're talking about how to really be great. And greatness for modern men right now must begin with a deep presence of the frustration, anger, and rage that boils up from the self-limiting layer of belief that lives within all of us. You must be able to stop in that moment and feel into it and not react. This is hard work. This is warrior's work to be able to do that. And then you must be able to understand what wisdom, what nugget of information is buried within this moment that can help you move forward. This is a true amplifier for being able to achieve your bigger dreams. Okay, I can speak to this personally because one of my big reactive moments for so many years was just the certain interaction that I had going on with my wife that would always take me like to this really lower place, like the lowest version of me would come up in this certain interaction with my wife, right? It's like the sacred partner, the sacred mirror. And I would do it to her too. And we would all of a sudden be spiraling downward together instead of spiraling up. I'm not saying that's the case for every marriage or every partnership, but for my life, that was always an area where I would really find myself just losing control, where I would lose control over the sense of awareness I have right now, or that I would have most of the time, right? And so what I started practicing, I'm going to tell you how I started practicing this, is that as soon as I was feeling myself starting to spin, I would stop and I would sit and I wouldn't react, to the point where my wife and I would start to be like going towards the seeds of a big fight, some blowout. And I would sit on the couch, I would sit cross-legged, and I wouldn't say anything. I would break the pattern. And she'd be like, what are you doing? Like, she'd be like, it was almost like a blip in her matrix of reality. Like, are you not going to talk to me? And I would just sit there. Okay. Sometimes it takes a shocking redirect to be able to do it. But it's just the wisdom of giving myself the space to feel into my body and to feel into what the wisdom was, because I was frustrated, right? And I'm still frustrated at times by things that go on, but I've trained myself to react differently. And what I found is that once I look internally for that wisdom, I can make a different choice because that energy passes. Brothers, hear me now on this one, okay? When you go down that rabbit hole and you're feeling like shit and you're feeling like, man, the beast is taking control, I'm about to go do X, Y, Z. And that could be a million things. I'm about to go drink myself to oblivion. I'm about to go get into a fight. I'm about to go watch 6 hours of porn. I'm about to watch 9 hours of Netflix. Whatever it might be. Okay. You have a choice in that moment to do something different. It's the true warrior energy to be able to stop right there and choose a different path. And I can tell you just from experience of training guys and doing this for so long and doing it myself, it's really remarkable what happens, because when you change your unconscious reactions to the beast dissipates in energy and it actually becomes more of a friend. It's like, okay, like it shows up. It's like, oh man, like there's something really triggering me. I can feel it in my body. It's an energy that comes up in my body. I'm at the point now where I feel it. I'm like, okay. And I breathe with it. I'm like, what do you want? What do you need right now? What do you need to say? What do you need to express? Right? Just here in this body, in this domain. not reacting to the outside world, because the outside world is nothing. It's my own perceptions. So let's begin here. And this is the mark of true maturity. This is not the easiest practice in the world, but we come here to these meetings and other stuff that we do to remember and to talk about this stuff, okay? And then, of course, the third piece, the last piece to this, I'm going to reiterate the first two. Number one, you want to acknowledge that this energy exists, that there's something in you that wants to express this rage, this sadness, this depression. And then usually there's some actions or a series of actions that's associated with it. You all know what you do when you get into that bad state. I don't need to tell you. You all have your checkout behaviors, right? So number one is acknowledging that it exists. Number two is stopping the reaction and asking for its information. What's the wisdom there? Right? What's the wisdom? Why are you feeling this way? What does it want? Ingratiate yourself with that part of yourself that you've deemed the beast. It's not the beast. It's valuable. It's us. There's a reason why you are who you are. Oftentimes when I've trained men, you know what we discover? That the same quality that represents the very worst of us is also, in a slightly different sense, the very best of us. Have you ever noticed that? That the thing that you do so great is also your biggest enemy. It's also like the part that brings you down, right? Like artists always tell me that. We have a lot of artists that we've had, like, they're like, man, when I'm creating art, it's like I'm in this creative space, but it's also like that part of me, like, doesn't allow me to like organize and structure my life. And I get so spun out. Okay. There's these like different parts of us that are similar. So understand the wisdom there. And then the third piece, guys, and this is the part that I'm really going to push, is to quickly move forward. Don't allow yourself to seep in that negative state. Don't allow yourself to seep in that negative state. I've really, really thought about this, guys, for years, because for a long time on my own journey, I put so much value into the healing time that I was doing on my own self, right? So much thought, so much work, so much money spent on programs, on retreats, healing my past, healing my karma, always coming up with all these reasons why these situations were arising for me. Nothing wrong with it. I'm not judging it. But it got to a point where I was almost addicted to it. Like I just couldn't get out of the focus on the negative thinking, the negative thoughts. And it was a real tipping point where I was like, all right, you know what? I'm here now. I'm here right now. And I'm ready to achieve greater things in my life. Let me just be here now and move forward. And that's what I want for you guys, is this awareness to move forward quicker. Don't allow yourself to seep in that negativity for an absorbent amount of time. There's a part of you, if you've been on a healing journey, that will say, no, but it's necessary, Todd. It's necessary. I need to understand why.